tree in love.
I told Mom, like, don't be telling everybody my hair. First thing she says,
How long have you known her?
Don't tell my sister no. You don't like you to say you don't.
This came as a surprise to you. You really are good.
Of course, everyone knows that what Clarksville did. Our feet were not frozen, so we got over it.
You're gonna trade that car off now.
Well, there's only 3 weeks left though until spring. Now I am trading it in next year because it's 2012, and I just had to spend $1,100 to get like the valve cover. And I'm like, oh, we're ready to replace it. It's due to get a new one in. But you know what he said?
I've got a motorcycle that's 26 years old. And I ain't going nowhere.
It seems I'm having a couple.
That's what he said about this
I
one.
told her.
So it's
And I do plan to retire probably in another couple of years. So
Well, guess what year I placed it? 1997.
I've got a motorcycle.
I just was in there.
96.
Because last year,
which is around April or 1st of May. And I said, after the first frost, and she said, oh no, I'm sorry. After the last frost. Well, how do you know it's the last frost?
yeah,
That's
about
what
the
they tell
end
you
of May.
sometimes about, what they tell you about the best time to plant grass seed is right after the last snow. What do you know it's the last snow? When it's the last snow, it's already fell. You don't even know. It's the best time to plant the last snow. The else it takes the seed up there. But hey, no, that's going to be the last one. It's going to have to be.
Well, you know what made me so mad one year down here, I'll forget, was we should have made it. And that one year, my father was beautiful tomatoes. So I'm all in there, and it was like about probably the second week of May. I mean, first, and then when it's warm, you can finally have a decent place.
So,
I learned a lesson up north.
I can tell you that after the last snow, well, come on. When I tell you this is the last word. It's the last time I'm going to tell you this. No, that's not happening.
Well, I'm gonna
That's
tell
like
you.
your mama telling you that, didn't care. It's the last time I'm telling you that, but it's not either. She'll tell you that it does.
I got
And it should show you what you mean.
I have got to tell you this. I was going to start writing band when we went band. So come pick me up a band. But I told him, I'm not going to be able to get in and out of that band. You remember when we went to that trip up Ozark? I had to stop, jump out of the He got to thinking. He said, I don't think you can.
And me and Richard and Dan lined up the door every time we got y'all out of it.
I know that's how they did it.
And every time it's Joe to get the door and say, it's you again. And we're picking on his hand. Just,
Well, what, if you don't pick her up for church, what if you had a step?
I don't think that helps. The
Where she can go up, okay,
Cause
gotcha.
that don't make.
That's not their worst problem.
That's not, I have been in there.
Carrie said, don't tell anybody she don't have the heater in your car.
I said, don't tell, she never had any.
Well, I didn't have any heat in my house, but I had some tea and some,
You get that taken care of.
oh, I had to get it. We don't know about that.
We've all been blessed to have spend money this past season. So, is today Manny's birthday?
Actually, Friday's her birthday.
Next Friday?
It's coming up the 18th, I think.
How old is she?
8.
8.
Already in today. No, please don't put baby in my family right now. Don't even mention that word in my same sentence right now.
Nobody expecting,
Well, Maddie's. That's,
there's nobody expecting your family right now, is there?
praise the Lord, I don't think
Well,
so.
what's wrong with them?
Listen, they're about to drive me nuts anyway. I'm ready to go to the crazy farm.
Right. Talking to sister yesterday, and she's doing well. She said, tell Manny hi. She said, I think about him often, but I'm not doing a thing about it. But if you want to come up here,
She's got a lot going on for.
she has, and she wants to come up here though. She wanted to fly away.
Tell her we miss her.
She's trying to move out of her daughter's house and get her, she got her double wide, and I said, if she can't get that organized yet, the lady that's written it's not getting it.
Bless her.
But she's doing better though, right? I think her eyes.
I bet you she can graciously tell her.
Well, when she sold her house, the people that bought hers demanded her to get out of certain time. She said that was really hard. She said, and I just can't be that way. She said, well, there's no way to do it.
Many people get her.
And bring her some because right here,
Oh, me.
we got a special tomorrow. So right here, it's first time the birthday mom and I were getting so bad. Right there in September, we had the kid was over to her house. He got on the picnic table and he said, they don't want to see us. And he turned her back with him on that picnic table.
Care said, oh, if we don't fix that toe, you're gonna have problems with it forever. Well, we went through the surgery, they put a pin in it, and 2 weeks later, the pin came out.
Oh,
So,
Yeah, I tripped over a ladder and broke my little toe, it was hanging off my flip-flop. And Mrs. Dale took me in the house and
Glued it
taped
back.
it to the other toe and I kept going.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the only thing mine does now is go sideways, it's just not straight, so.
Yeah.
But I thought with
I
the
thought
all
you
that.
could have. I thought you could have super glued it to the other toe. But you can't super glue in the house.
Well, you know what I did with the stupid leg? Of course, I got that pin in it. Put that rod in there, about 6 inches long. Well, right up by that rod. All I did the other, about 2 weeks ago, I was getting potatoes ready at the sink, and I had the bag ready to put back there where it belonged. And I went to turn around, and when I did, I just went right down on the kitchen floor. But I didn't hit anything. But can you believe I ended up with about 3 black and blue marks on that thing? And now since the black and blue marks have gone away, but it feels like it's got a little tiny bump on that down thing right there.
I didn't
But
know
it's,
check it out.
well,
How's,
it should,
How's Ross doing?
it's getting better.
Ross went back to work this week with the guy that he was working with before
Yeah.
he had the accident. Still going to therapy, and Jody says still has a little limp, but, I think went back Monday.
Sally and Ron are in Huntsville, Alabama. Their their grandson Luke is being baptized today.
Oh.
Michael's little boy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know how long, I don't know if you're gonna be doing some more traveling during the whole month of February or
Did they
not.
take the ladies,
Mhm.
or they not take them out anymore, like somebody
They-
comes in and stays?
They're
No, they
at,
took 'em
the
to-
one that used to be
Oh, they
Sunny,
did
the
take
one that used to be, what's that, Sunny Side up on the
Sunnyside
hill
used
up
to be
there?
up there on the
It's
hill.
a new, it's got different owners now, a different name, but they're,
She's not the same one she used to go to behind the hospital?
no, they're not at,
Harris
Apple Garden.
Healthcare
this
or
time.
whatever.
Something about they had used up their time or something, so I'm not really sure if you can just go so long until you
Yeah.
take them kind of.
Yeah, you have to, with the insurance,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so
So they used all that up,
And
so
they
they
may-
moved on.
they're not for sure, they may stay there. And Sally and him are going to make a tough decision, so keep them in your
That's
prayers.
fine.
Really,
Oh, yeah.
it's all on Sally when it comes to taking a bath and taking her to the bathroom and stuff like that. You know, he'll sit with them and stuff, but he told her, he said, I'm not, and I don't blame him.
Oh, no.
And so,
Yeah.
and Miss Mom is pretty heavy lady, you know,
Right.
I don't know how Sally's handling her, but you can hurt yourself by
Well,
doing
even
that.
if,
She must be-
even if both of them were tiny, that's a lot on one person.
She must be almost 100, isn't she?
She is
She is
100.
100.
I thought
She's
she
She just
was.
had her 100th birthday and
Yeah.
a birthday party, and then just a few
Her
weeks ago,
sister is-
Cindy and I went to Sally and Ron's, and they had a 98th birthday party for Miss Harriet.
Oh, yeah. God.
They're right on up there, anyway.
But
Okay,
Well, I'll tell you one place I'd never, I hate to say this, but I'll tell you one place I'd never go was down to that place back of the hospital. That nursing home down there, that's where I was at for about 5 days after I wrote
I
this.
thought
down.
you liked it.
The food was great, but to be laying in a nursing home like
She
that.
was in
I thought-
quarantine because of the COVID, so they didn't do much with it.
Yeah, even though I had the shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the deal. So I didn't, and they, for therapy, all I did, the lady came in, he was on them walker, walked back first across the room, and I said, well, sure, I'm just going home, I'll go to the other place to get the therapy. You don't do a whole lot more than get regulated here. But that laying in the nursing home ain't gonna be my cup of tea, I'm too darn.
so you were actually in Plumley.
Yeah,
Plumley.
Plumley.
Yeah, you're in
Yeah.
Plumley rehab, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, let's have a prayer. Dear Father, thank you so much for the day you've given us and for the sunshine. I thank for each one that's here this morning. We ask you just bless this time together, bless the study and reading your word. Pray we learn something about you and just learn some things that maybe we've never really thought of before. Things you enlighten us with. Bless the Lord to be glorified with it all. Ask you if these have been mentioned on the prayer list, and we thank you for prayers that you've answered. And people's health has been restored to them. Just thank you so much for all you do. For in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Last Sunday in children's church, we started out, I asked the kids how many of them prayed. And I said, now just raise your hand if you don't want to. But I said, I said, how many of you prayed? I said, maybe not every night, but every morning or whatever, but how many of you have prayed? Well, of course, all of them said they had. And I asked them what they prayed for. Well, just different things. And one of them said that they prayed for, I think, well, I can't remember her name now. Whitworth. Mally. I think Mally said, I prayed for Lucy all the time. and of course, when she said that, she expected Lucy to say, I pray for Mally, but Lucy didn't say that. So Mally kind of got, well, I pray for you. But anyway, so, but I asked them, I said, well, when you pray, I said, do you believe that God's going to answer your prayers? If your prayers are answered, are you ever surprised? And they just kind of, well, they didn't know. They just kind of looked at, and I said, well, because I have finally come to the conclusion that children probably have more faith than grown-ups do. Because Jesus said to us, come to him with the faith of a child. Oh, now, isn't that enlightening? And it's because I think as we get older, we depend more on ourselves than we do someone else. And I've said this so many times, and I've done this before in children's church. And I've done it, you know, I said, I can go upstairs to children's church right now, and when the kids get there, and take one of the kids by their hand and tell them to close their eyes, and I'm gonna lead them around the room, and they'll let me lead them all over the room, and they'll keep their eyes closed. If I come back here and get one of y'all right now and say, y'all close your eyes, I'm gonna lead you around the room. You're like, no, you're not me. Because I know you. But, and so, can we come to the conclusion that evidently children have more faith than we do because they're children? And so Jesus said to us to come to him like a small child, having the faith in him and not in ourselves. And so, but then again, at the same time, as adult Christians get older, or as they practice their faith, and your faith will grow and it gets stronger, and you're more able to believe that God can do anything. I mean, I'll also say that God can do anything, but sometimes when God does do anything, then we're like, oh, wow. And so I went ahead and told them the story of, and I said, here's a classic example. It's probably one of the best examples I can find in the Bible as far as people being surprised when God answered prayers. And I said, it was a guy named Peter. He was an apostle. I said, he was preaching and teaching. And I said, they cut off one of the other apostles' heads, and then they arrested Peter with the idea of doing the same thing. I said, when they did, they said, well, we have to wait till after Easter, which I was surprised at that, but that wasn't in there. We'll wait till after Easter celebration because we don't want to upset the Jewish people. And so it says Peter was in prison, locked up inside the prison, chains on his hands, chains on his feet, with a guard laying on each side of him, asleep. They're guarding him close. And I said, meanwhile, while Peter's asleep, I said, he's not tossing and turning, he's not worried. They're going to cut my head off, but I'm not worried. It just didn't, whether he didn't know what they're going to do, he had to know about the other apostle that had done this too. But he says he was laying there, he's sound asleep. And so, but meanwhile, there is across town a group of people that have met, and they're having a prayer visual for Peter. They're praying for him, and it's praying for him all night long, continuously, I think. And so as they prayed, it says, an angel appeared in the prison. A light shone around him, which we see that so many times when he talks about angels showing up. They light up the place. They did it in the fields around Bethlehem when he appeared to the shepherds, and other times too. But this one particular time said that, and the prison was lit up. And the angel touched Peter and told him to wake up. And so Peter woke up, chains were off his feet, the chains were off his hands. And so it says, come with me. And so they went out. But the thing of the whole story is, Peter actually thought he was dreaming. And so they got to the outside of the gate, and I think he finally comes to the realization, this is not a dream. I'm really being freed. And I think he said in about 3 blocks or whatever, the angel disappeared, and Peter went on to the house where the people were praying. When he got there, he knocked on the door. And little girl, the adults were praying. Little girl went and answered the door. Her name was Rhoda, and she answered the door. And when she opened the door, she looked and saw it, or they opened the gate actually, and she looked and saw it was Peter. And in her excitement, she shut the gate and went back in the house and told the rest of them, Peter's outside. These people, what are they praying for? What do you think they're praying for? They're praying for Peter to be released or Peter to be saved. And so they looked at her and they stopped their praying for Peter and they looked at her and they said, it can't be Peter. Peter's in prison. You don't know what you're talking about. And so she was pretty persistent about it, which I think we all have grandchildren that are pretty persistent about things. And she was persistent the way they are, maybe even more. And finally, though, okay. And Peter keeps knocking. They go to the gate, and there he is. And they are surprised. Well, there's a lot of places in the Bible that talks about deliverance. And actually, that was just the forerunner of what I had to say this morning. There's a lot of places in the Bible that talks about deliverance. In the book of Psalms, and Psalms has several of them. And so I'm going to read them to you. It seems like everything on this is gone. Anyway. Psalms 34, verse 17, it says, when the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. How much of their troubles, Miss Ann? All of their trouble. All of them. It says, when the Lord hears the cry for help, when the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. Psalm 107, verse 6 says, then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. In Psalm 50, verse 15, it says, and call upon me in the day of trouble, I will deliver you, and you shall glorify me. And in 2 Samuel, it says, he said, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. We keep on hearing, seeing that word over and over and over again, all 4 verses. And even in Psalms 34, verse 4, I sought the Lord and he delivered me. I sought the Lord and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. So that's in the Old Testament. There's a lot of verses in the New Testament we talked about being delivered. And when we talk about delivered, hey, that means he's taking you out of it. He's taking care of you. And I have so many people now who talk about different situations, and I say, I just look at some situations like this, like I look at the president. I'm sorry, I step on some toes. He's got 4 years. God will get us through it, and we'll move on. Hopefully, he won't make too much problems. And I think the same thing about other situations too. Not be the situation I like right now. In different times, in different places, might have a boss you didn't like or whatever. And of course, none of us are going to do that anymore.